Have you ever wondered what it would be like to rebuild your life after losing everything? Marco, a widowed father, fled to the countryside with his daughter, Sophia, in search of peace, but found only silence and guilt. All seemed lost until Anna arrived, a woman with a past marked by her own mistakes. As secrets come to light and wounds are exposed, the question arises, can two broken people help each other find redemption? Find out now how the unexpected can change everything. Marco stood on the balcony, holding a mug of cold coffee. The rising sun barely touched the fields with its pale light, and the dense fog made the scenery melancholy. He stared at the horizon, as if waiting for answers that never came. Behind him, the faint sound of pencils scratching paper caught his attention. Sophia, sitting on the floor, was drawing in her notebook. Her strokes were precise, but her expression was one of serious, almost adult concentration. "What are you drawing, Sophia?" asked Marco, coming closer. "The birds I saw yesterday," she replied, without taking her eyes off the paper. Marco bent down, observing the details his daughter had included. "You have a talent for that," he said with a forced smile, but Sophia just shrugged. She was more introspective than he would have liked, a reflection of the losses they both shared. Before he could continue, Sophia started coughing, a dry cough that quickly intensified. Marco held her shoulders and helped her to steady herself. "Slowly, take deep breaths," he instructed. The cough subsided, but Marco's worried gaze remained. "If this story has already captured your attention, imagine what's yet to come. Subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss a single detail of this exciting journey of overcoming, hope, and reconnection. Your presence here is essential to keep telling stories like this." "I'm fine, Dad," said Sophia, her voice still weak. "You need more than just to be okay," Marco replied quietly. The sound of a car approaching down the road took their attention away. Marco got up and walked to the front of the house, where he saw a small car parked. A woman got out, carrying a suitcase in one hand and a determined expression on her face. "Marco Antunes?" she asked, approaching with firm steps. "It's me," replied Marco, crossing his arms as he appraised her with a suspicious look. "I'm Anna. I've come to work with Sophia," she said, holding out her hand. Marco hesitated before shaking it quickly. "Well, this is the house. I hope you know what you're getting into," he said, indicating the door with a dry gesture. "I know," replied Anna in a calm but firm tone. Sophia, curious, watched from the balcony. When Anna looked at her, she gave her a warm smile. "Hi, Sophia. I'm here to help you," said Anna, but the girl just tilted her head, appraising her with attentive eyes. Marco watched the interaction in silence, wondering if he had made the right decision. In the main room, Marco pointed to a board on the wall where there was a detailed schedule with handwritten timetables. "I need you to follow that. Sophia has specific times to rest, take her medication, and do her breathing exercises." Anna crossed her arms, looking at the board. Each line seemed more rigid than the last, and something in her face indicated that she didn't completely agree. "I understand that you want organization, but Sophia is a child, not a hospital patient. She needs flexibility, moments to be creative." Marco frowned, crossing his arms. "I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm telling you how things work here." Anna maintained her posture, her tone calm but firm. "And I'm saying that if you've hired me, you need to trust my experience. I know how to look after children like Sophia." The tension grew between the two, but was interrupted by the faint sound of footsteps. Sophia appeared in the doorway, clutching her sketchbook to her chest. "What are you two discussing?" she asked, with a soft voice and a curious look. "About how to look after yourself," replied Marco, with a quick but clearly uncomfortable smile. "I can take care of myself," said Sophia, glancing at both of them before leaving again, without waiting for an answer. "Have you been touched by this story? Then imagine how many other narratives, as rich and moving as this one, could inspire your life. It was with women like you in mind, who have faced challenges but know that true love and connection never cease to be possible, that I wrote the ebook, The Secret of Mature Romance Stories. And here's something special. I want to give this gift to the first people who watch this video. Yes, that's right. The ebook will be free for those who act fast, and click on the link below. Don't let this opportunity pass you by, because sometimes, like Marco and Anna, all we need is another chance to transform our stories. Take advantage of it while it's still available. Later, Anna found Sophia sitting on the balcony, watching the horizon. The girl had a sheet of paper in front of her and a pencil clutched between her fingers. "What are you drawing?" asked Anna, sitting down next to her. "A bird, but it's not flying," replied Sophia, showing a sketch of a bird with its wings down. Sienna looked at the drawing, tilting her head to study it. "Maybe he's resting before he flies again." Sophia looked at her in surprise. "Do you think he can fly again?" "I think so," replied Anna with a smile. "And you know what? I think we can give him some color. What do you say we use these paints here?" From her bag, Anna pulled out a small watercolor case. Sophia hesitated, but then accepted it, her eyes shining with mild curiosity. The two spent the next hour painting together. The initial tension between them seemed to disappear as Anna explained how to mix the colors to create softer tones. The bird began to come to life on the paper, with vibrant shades of blue and orange. When Marco entered the room shortly afterwards, he stood in the doorway watching the scene. Sophia laughed softly as Anna helped her mix more paint. Without saying a word, Marco returned to his office. A knot tightened in his throat, torn between relief and something he still couldn't identify. The next morning, Anna started exploring the house while Sophia was still asleep. Marco was already in the shed, concentrating on repairing old tools. The interior of the house was quiet, and Anna took the opportunity to get to know the spaces better. As she passed through a narrower corridor, she noticed an ajar door that led to the basement. The narrow, damp staircase led down to a small space, lit only by a tall, dusty window. In the corner of the basement, boxes were stacked in disarray. Anna hesitated before opening one of them, feeling a mixture of curiosity and fear. Inside, she found an old photo album, covered in a thin layer of dust. Leafing through the pages, she saw pictures of Marco next to a woman with a radiant smile. In one of the photos, Sophia, still a baby, was in her mother's arms, her face serene and full of life. The happiness captured there was almost palpable, but it contrasted sharply with the gloomy atmosphere that now dominated the house. Anna sighed, carefully closing the album. Before she could put it away, she heard footsteps behind her. Marco was standing on the stairs, his expression tense and his face hardened. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice low but sharp. "I thought I'd organize a few things," Anna replied, trying to remain calm and showing him the album in her hands. "You don't need to touch anything in this basement," Marco replied. He walked up the steps, pausing only for a moment to look at her. "That's none of your business." Anna watched as he walked away. She closed the box and returned to the living room, but something inside her told her that the basement held more than just objects. Later, while she was helping Sophia with her drawings, Anna tried to keep the annoyance at bay. But the girl noticed. "Are you sad, Anna?" asked Sophia, holding the pencil gently. "No, just thinking," replied Anna, offering a forced smile. "I think a lot too," said Sophia, going back to drawing. After a few seconds, she added, "About Mom." Anna felt a tightness in her chest. "She was very special, wasn't she?" "Yes," said Sophia, almost in a whisper. In the evening, Marco called Anna out onto the balcony to talk. His tone was more controlled, but carried an unwavering firmness. "I want to make something clear. It's not your job to touch the past of this house." Anna took a deep breath, but didn't back down. "I understand, but you can't ignore the impact of this on Sophia. She needs some space to deal with these memories." She's dealing with it in her own way, said Marco, abruptly ending the conversation and entering the house. Anna stood alone, looking up at the dark sky. The silence around them was profound, but she knew that this conversation was far from over. The afternoon was sunny, and Sophia was playing in the yard with the brushes and paints Anna had brought. She had chosen a large stone as a canvas, painting colourful flowers, while Anna organized tools near the shed. Marco came out of the house, observing the scene with a neutral but intrigued expression. "You're too busy," Marco commented as he passed Anna. "Organizing things helps create order." "And Sophia feels lighter when she can express her creativity," replied Anna, without interrupting what she was doing. "She doesn't need distractions. She needs stability," Marco replied, looking at Sophia. Anna stopped and turned to him. "Stability can also come from moments of joy, and she's finding that now." Later, while Marco was in the field adjusting fences, Anna found Sophia watching the garden from the balcony. The girl seemed fascinated by the wilted flowers that still remained there. "Do you like these flowers?" asked Anna, sitting down next to her. "They were Mom's. She said they were special because they survived the winter," replied Sophia. Anna smiled, thinking, "Maybe we could plant more of them. A garden just for your mother." Sophia's eyes sparkled. "Do you think Dad will let us?" "Let's ask," said Anna, trying to encourage the girl. That evening, over dinner, Sophia enthusiastically presented the idea. "Daddy, can we make a garden for Mommy? Anna and I can plant the flowers she liked." Marco stopped cutting his food, raising his eyes to his daughter. "I don't know if that's a good idea. We don't need to touch the past to move forward." "But I want to remember her," Sophia insisted, her voice tinged with emotion. Anna intervened carefully. "Marco, that could be something positive for Sophia, a way of honoring the memories without making them a burden." Marco took a deep breath, clearly uncomfortable. He stood up and walked over to the window, looking out over the countryside. "I need to think about this," he said, ending the conversation. "Moments like this show the power of remembering and honoring those we love." Want to follow how this story unfolds? Subscribe to the channel now and join us on this journey full of emotion and transformation. Over the next few days, Sophia and Anna began to plan the garden in secret. They chose a corner on the side of the house where the sunlight was more abundant. Sophia sketched out the layout of the flowers, while Anna prepared the soil. During a storm, Marco got stuck in the barn, while Anna ran to help Sophia, who was coughing intensely. She took her inhaler and kept her calm until the crisis passed. When Marco finally returned, he found Sophia lying on the sofa, sleeping with her head in Anna's lap. He hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Thank you for looking after her," he said, his voice filled with a mixture of relief and regret. Anna nodded, saying nothing. It was a small step, but a significant one. The local festival was the most anticipated event in the region, and the streets of the small village were decorated with colourful flags and stalls full of food and handicrafts. Marco was reluctant to take part, but Sophia insisted. "Daddy, I want to show my drawing to people." "Anna says it's special," she said, carefully holding up a folder containing the work she had done over the last few days. "Are you sure you want to go?" asked Marco, his face full of concern. "Yes, it'll be fun," replied Sophia, trying to convey confidence. When they arrived, the vibrant atmosphere seemed to relieve some of Marco's tension. Sophia walked between the stalls with Anna, looking around curiously. Marco followed a few paces behind, keeping a watchful eye. "You need to relax," said Anna in a joking tone, while he glanced nervously around. "It's easy to say that when it's not your daughter who could get lost," Marco replied humorlessly. Anna shrugged and turned her attention to Sophia, who was pointing to a flower stall. "Those look just like Mum's flowers," said Sophia excitedly. While Anna and Sophia looked at the flowers, Marco went to get something to eat. When he returned, he found only Anna, who looked tense. "Where's Sophia?" he asked, his heart racing. "She was just here," replied Anna, the concern evident in her voice. "How could you leave her alone?" Marco exploded without thinking. Anna didn't reply. They both began to search desperately for Sophia among the crowd. Marco called out his daughter's name, feeling his panic growing by the second. Finally, he saw her sitting on a bench near the main square with her sketchbook on her lap. Running to her was such a relief that he almost fell to his knees when he reached her. "Sophia, what were you thinking? Why did you leave without saying anything?" he asked, his voice trembling. "I wanted to finish my drawing," replied Sophia, holding the notebook open to show the illustration of a woman smiling next to a little girl. "I wanted it to be perfect before I showed it to you." Marco remained silent, staring at the drawing. He felt a lump in his throat as the emotions he had been repressing threatened to spill over. Anna arrived soon after, breathless but relieved to see Sophia safe. "She's fine," she said, more to herself than to Marco. "Yes, she is," replied Marco, still looking at the drawing. When they got home that night, Marco put Sophia to bed and stayed by her side for a few minutes, watching her sleep. Then he went into the kitchen, where he found Anna setting the table. "I lost control today. I'm sorry I took it out on you," said Marco, his voice low. "It's all right. You were just scared," Anna replied. Marco hesitated before continuing. "You did right by her, better than I would have." Anna smiled slightly. "You do the best you can, Marco, and that's a lot." Dawn brought a light mist over the fields, but there was something different in the air. Sophia was lively, running around the kitchen while Anna prepared the coffee. Marco came in, still sleepy, and stopped when he saw his daughter chattering about the garden they had started planning. "Can we plant the flowers today, Dad? It's going to be special," said Sophia, holding up the notebook in which she had drawn the layout of the garden. Marco looked at Anna, who gave him a discreet smile of encouragement. He nodded slowly. "We can start. Pick a good spot." With a hoe and a bag of seeds in his hands, Marco took Sophia and Anna to the plot next to the house. Sophia pointed to a spot next to a large tree. "This is perfect. Mom loved this tree," she said with a smile. As they prepared the soil, Marco stood in silence, watching Sophia and Anna work together. It was such a contrast to the lonely days he had experienced that he almost didn't know how to process it. Finally he spoke, his voice hesitant. "She loved this place. She said it was where the sunlight seemed warmest." Anna looked at him, sensing the emotion in his voice. Sophia stopped what she was doing and looked at her father curiously. "You never told me that, Dad." Marco took a deep breath, trying to find the words. "I guess I always thought that talking about her would make you sadder, but maybe I was wrong." "I like it when you talk about Mom," said Sophia, with a soft smile. For the rest of the morning they planted the flowers, each one carefully chosen to honor the memory of Sophia's mother. When they had finished, Marco looked at the newly created garden and felt something stir inside him. Not sadness, but a peace he hadn't felt for a long time. In the afternoon they sat on the balcony, watching the garden in the soft light of the sunset. Sophia was radiant, holding a small watering can and making sure every plant got enough water. Anna looked at Marco and broke the silence. "You've taken a big step today, for her and for you." Marco nodded, his eyes still fixed on the garden. "I think it's time to stop living only in the past. She wanted me to look after Sophia, but I think she also wanted me to look after myself." Anna smiled. "And you're doing that now, one step at a time." Later, when Sophia was already in bed, Marco found Anna in the kitchen, tidying up the dinner dishes. He stopped at the door, clearly hesitant. "I wanted to thank you for everything. Not just for looking after Sophia, but for insisting, even when I didn't make things easy." Anna turned around, surprised by his vulnerable tone. "I knew there was something here worth fighting for, and I don't regret staying." Marco gave a small smile. You've changed a lot more than I thought possible." The next morning, while Sophia watered the garden, Marco and Anna watched from the balcony. The rising sun illuminated the field, and the sound of Sophia's laughter filled the air. For the first time in years, Marco felt that the future was not something to fear, but something to embrace.